Welcome to the Senior Techie Podcast. I want you to imagine, just for a second, a really sprawling, bustling conference room in Arlington, Virginia.
Oh, yeah. Wall-to-wall people.
Right, exactly. There's, about 800 people in there. You've got policymakers, technology advocates, healthcare practitioners, and they're all gathered around these tables, just covered in policy briefs and, complex data models.
Lots of strong coffee and intense debates, for sure.
Yeah, very intense. They are aggressively debating decisions that are going to directly impact your wallet, your health coverage, and literally the technology that runs your household.
Yeah.
And the kicker is, you aren't on the guest list.
Well, yeah. Most people aren't on that list.
Right.
The event we're talking about was the National Council on Aging's the Age Plus Action Conference. And the NCOA, they operate pretty much entirely out of the spotlight.
Yeah, you definitely don't see them on TV.
Exactly. You won't see them running television ads or, stuffing your mailbox with those glossy campaign flyers. But make no mistake, the people sitting in that room, they really function as the architects of the systems that older adults have to navigate every single day.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Because when your local community center rolls out a brand new telehealth initiative, or when the federal government drastically changes how you enroll in medical coverage, those massive shifts, they usually start as arguments in this exact room.
Yeah, years before you ever see them.
Right. And knowing what happens behind those closed doors, it really shouldn't be some kind of insider privilege.
Right.
That's why we're here. Our goal at the Senior Techie is to pull back the curtain on these exact conversations.
Because understanding the infrastructure that's being built around you, it gives you a tangible advantage.
A completely practical advantage. It helps you stay ahead of the curve rather than, feeling dragged by it.
Yeah.
Which is a feeling I think a lot of people have right now.
Oh, absolutely. Which actually brings us to the most immediate, probably the biggest structural shift that they discussed at the conference.
Okay, lay it on us.
Well, it's aimed directly at the most complex system you probably interact with, which is Medicare.
Oh, boy. Medicare.
I know, right? Specifically, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, they are aggressively pushing to integrate artificial intelligence tools into the whole Medicare enrollment and navigation process.
Okay, so the idea here is that instead of spending days on the phone or trying to decipher which plans cover your specific doctors or your exact tier of prescriptions, you would just use an AI system.
That's the dream they're selling, yeah.
But I think we really need to clarify the mechanism here, because when we talk about CMS using AI tools or, algorithms to manage healthcare, what does that actually look like under the hood? It's not a person in a computer.
No, not at all. And to understand both the capability and the danger of this, imagine a gigantic multi-story library. And this library contains every single rule, regulation, and plan detail in the entire Medicare system. Just millions of pages.
The terrifying library, but I'm with you.
Right. But instead of a human librarian who, slowly walks the aisles to find your book, you have an incredibly eager speed reader. And this speed reader has memorized millions of pages of text in seconds.
Wow. In seconds.
Yeah. But here's the catch. When you ask this speed reader a question, it doesn't actually think the way a human does. It doesn't understand context. It just uses advanced mathematics to instantly predict the most relevant sequence of words to answer your question.
So it's just pulling from thousands of documents simultaneously based on math.
Precisely. It's sorting data at a scale that a human mind simply can't process. It can read a 500-page formulary document in milliseconds and tell you if your specific insulin is covered.
Which sounds amazing. Getting a plain language answer instantly sounds like a dream. But wait, what happens when this eager speed reader gets it wrong?
And there's the problem.
Because its primary directive is just to generate a response, right?
It wants to please you. It wants to give you an answer. And because it operates on probability rather than actual human comprehension, if it hits a blank spot in its memory, it doesn't always say, I don't know.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It might confidently invent a totally fake book complete with a title and an author just to fulfill that core function of giving you an answer.
Which, in the tech world, is what we call a hallucination.
Exactly, a hallucination.
And that hallucination is where this entire system becomes a massive, massive liability. A glitch in a normal search engine is an annoyance. You search for a recipe and it gives you the wrong cooking time, whatever.
Right, you burn a pie.
Yeah, you burn a pie. But if you type a plain language question into a Medicare AI portal, something like, does this Part D plan cover my local independent pharmacy?
Mm-hmm.
And the system invents a fake book saying yes. The financial fallout lands entirely on your shoulders.
Completely on you.
A bad recommendation isn't just a glitch here. You could be locked into an out-of-network plan, which could cost you thousands of dollars out of pocket, or just leave you without vital coverage for an entire year.
In that exact scenario, that was the center of a very tense debate at the Age Plus Action Conference.
I can imagine.
The core issue is accountability. Because think about it. If an independent human insurance broker gives you negligent advice, there's a clear chain of accountability.
Right. Their license is at risk. You can file a complaint.
Exactly. There are legal avenues for restitution. But if a predictive algorithm deployed by the federal government steers you into a financially devastating plan, who absorbs that liability?
Right. Do you sue an algorithm?
Good luck with that. Do you appeal to some software developer in Silicon Valley?
The guardrails just don't exist yet, do they?
They really don't. The technology is vastly outpacing the regulatory framework that we need to protect the public. The experts at NCOA, they acknowledge that AI has the potential to eliminate the nightmare of, those automated phone trees and the microscopic print.
God, I hate those phone trees.
I all do. But until that accountability question is legally resolved, treating a digital assistant as a definitive financial advisor is incredibly risky.
It really is. Which means, for now, you need to rely on verified, deterministic systems. If you need help navigating benefits today, please don't beta test an experimental digital assistant.
No, definitely not.
The National Council on Aging actually maintains a free, highly reliable tool. You can find it at benefitcheckup.org.
And that's a great resource.
It is. It's a traditional, secure database that just cross-references your information against available programs to find savings that you already qualify for. It doesn't guess. It doesn't hallucinate. It just runs the numbers safely. Again, that's benefitcheckup.org.
The irony here is just profound.
How so?
Well, the government is trying to harness this algorithmic efficiency to match you with resources, right? To help you. But that exact same efficiency, that ability to process massive amounts of personal data in milliseconds, it is already being weaponized by bad actors to target you.
Oh, the scammers. Yeah, the conversation around scammers has completely shifted.
A whole new world.
We are no longer talking about, generic phishing emails with bad grammar from a supposed prince. The criminals operating today are armed with highly specific data, and I think we need to look at the mechanics of how they actually get it. Because they aren't guessing your bank's name or your home address. They're buying it.
Yeah, they're buying it from entities known as data brokers.
Data brokers.
Yeah.
Okay, define that for us, because that sounds shady.
It is a bit shady, yeah. Data brokers operate in this legal gray area that most people are completely unaware of. So think of them as a massive network of invisible, really gossipy private detectives.
Gossipy private detectives. I like that.
Right. And they are following you through both the physical and the digital world.
Okay.
So when you use a store loyalty card, or when you quickly tap accept on the terms of service on a weather app on your phone.
Which we all do without reading.
Exactly. We all do it. Or even when public property records are updated, these detectives are logging all of that data. They are noting down your spending habits, what doctors you visit, your family connections, your real estate assets.
That's terrifying.
It gets worse. They aggregate thousands of these tiny little data points onto like a digital clipboard. They build a comprehensive profile of your life, and then they legally sell it on the open market to anyone with a credit card.
And criminal syndicates are just buying those clipboards in bulk.
In absolute bulk. The financial toll is staggering.
Yeah.
The data they presented in Arlington showed that in California alone, adults over 60 lost more than $1.4 billion to fraud in a single year.
$1.4 billion. That's just California.
Just California. National figures are way worse. And older adults aren't targeted because they are gullible, which is a horrible stereotype.
Right. Totally unfair.
They are targeted because they hold the highest concentration of liquid wealth in the country. It is just a purely mathematical calculation by the scammers.
It's a business model for them. But the tactical shift here, it really happens when you combine those purchase data profiles with artificial intelligence, right?
Yes. This is where it gets scary. With just 3 to 5 seconds of audio literally pulled from your voicemail greeting, or maybe a video your grandson posted on social media, AI software can map the phonetic patterns of a person's voice.
3 seconds.
Just 3 seconds. And then a scammer can type text into a program, and it will synthesize that speech in the exact pitch, cadence, and tone of your loved one.
So when the phone rings, It isn't some robotic voice asking for a wire transfer.
No, it sounds exactly like your grandchild or your bank manager, and they are armed with your home address and your recent transaction history from those data brokers, which creates an atmosphere of sheer panic.
Yeah, absolute panic. But here's the thing I really want to emphasize to you listening. The technology generating the call is cutting edge, yes. It's new. But the psychological trap they're springing is ancient.
Oh, totally.
They rely entirely on cognitive overload. It's like a stranger rushing up to you on the street, right? Shoving a dense financial contract in your face and screaming at you to sign it in the dark right that very second.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like.
Legitimate businesses never, ever operate that way. Not one. But these scammers know that if they induce enough panic, your brain's amygdala basically hijacks your executive function. You literally stop thinking logically and you just react to the threat.
Because the mechanism of the trap requires speed. If you slow down, the illusion shatters.
Exactly.
Legitimate organizations, the IRS, your bank, Medicare, they never initiate contact by demanding immediate secretive action.
Never. They never demand you stay on the phone while you drive to the bank.
No.
They never ask you to resolve a federal warrant by purchasing Target gift cards or feeding cash into a local cryptocurrency ATM. The payment methods they demand are always untraceable and irreversible.
And because this attack relies entirely on cognitive overload, the defense is actually remarkably simple. It's entirely human. Cybersecurity experts refer to it as the single pause.
The single pause, I love that. It's a deliberate disruption of their tactic.
Exactly.
If you answer a call or read a text message that causes a sudden spike of adrenaline, an urgent demand that you must act right now to save your money or help a relative, you must force a hard stop.
Disconnect the call. Just hang up.
Yes, hang up. Close the message. Take a single pause to let your executive function come back online. Take a breath. Then independently verify the claim. Call your grandchild directly on the number you already have saved in your phone.
Or call the phone number printed on the back of your actual debit card.
Exactly. Refusing to be rushed in the dark is the ultimate defense against these billion-dollar criminal networks.
And when you encounter these tactics, your response shouldn't just be defensive. The Federal Trade Commission actually maps these criminal networks using public reports.
Which is so important.
It is. If you experience an attempted scam, even if you didn't fall for it, taking 5 minutes to log it at reportfraud.ftc.gov provides the FTC with the exact phone numbers, the cryptocurrency wallets, and the data points they need to actually pursue these international fraud rings.
Right. You're helping them fight back. That's reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Yep.
Now, we spend so much time talking about playing defense against technology, right? Scammers, bad algorithms. But a really fascinating portion of the Age Plus Action conference focused on going on the offensive.
This was my favorite part, honestly.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
The idea is if algorithms can map our voices and track our habits,
Yeah.
how do we use our own everyday consumer technology to protect our most vital asset, which is our brain health?
Yeah, the conversation around technology and brain health has matured so significantly. For years, the narrative was completely dominated by commercial brain games.
Oh, the apps.
Yeah, those apps promising to increase your memory or stave off cognitive decline if you just spent, 20 minutes a day matching colored shapes or solving spatial puzzles.
The marketing for those apps is relentless. I see them everywhere. But the researchers in Arlington basically dismantled that premise entirely, didn't they?
They really did. The scientific consensus right now is that active brain training games only improve your working memory for that specific task.
Okay, so if I play a memory matching game every day, I will become incredibly efficient at memory matching games.
Exactly. You'll be a champion at that one game. But that skill does not transfer to systemic brain health. It doesn't actually help you remember where you put your keys, and it doesn't lower your risk of dementia.
That is so wild, and probably disappointing for a lot of people who've spent hours on those apps.
Well, yeah. But there's better news. Because cognitive decline isn't just a failure of memory, it's deeply tied to your physiological systems. This is why researchers are turning away from those active games, and they're focusing intensely on what is known as continuous passive data.
Continuous passive data. Okay, we need an analogy for this one too.
Sure. So to put passive data into perspective, think about a standard visit to your primary care physician.
Right. You sit on the paper on the table.
Yeah. They take your blood pressure, they listen to your heart, they ask about your sleep. That evaluation is a photograph. It captures a tiny, isolated fraction of a second of your biological reality.
It's just a snapshot of how you were doing on Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Precisely. Passive data, by contrast, is like having a security camera running silently in the background 24/7. It captures the entire movie of your physiological life without you ever having to stop and pose for it.
So we're talking about devices you might already wear just for convenience, like an Apple Watch or a Garmin or a Fitbit.
Exactly. They're capturing this movie constantly. They record your heart rate variability as you walk the dog, the specific micro awakenings in your sleep cycle, your blood oxygen levels. And the reason gerontologists and neurologists are so focused on this passive data is because of the undeniable biological link between cardiovascular health, restorative sleep, and the brain.
That connection between sleep and cognitive health is absolutely wild once you look at the mechanisms.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, because during deep restorative sleep, the brain actually shrinks slightly, right?
Yeah, it does.
Which sounds bad, but it allows a network called the glymphatic system to flush cerebrospinal fluid through the brain tissue. It literally washes away the toxic metabolic proteins like amyloid plaques that build up during your waking hours, like a dishwasher for your brain.
That is exactly what it is. And the efficiency of that wash cycle relies heavily on your cardiovascular system. Your heart rate, your blood pressure, and your vascular elasticity, they determine how effectively those toxins are cleared out.
Wow.
So by monitoring the passive data from a smartwatch over time, researchers are discovering that subtle, long-term shifts in your cardiovascular metrics or your sleep architecture can actually serve as an early warning system for cognitive decline, years before memory symptoms ever appear.
The potential there is incredible. But, from a practical standpoint, I feel like it requires a major shift in how we interact with our devices.
What do you mean?
Well, having a silent guardian on your wrists is great, but giving someone an endless stream of health data can trigger massive anxiety. I mean, if I wake up and my app tells me my restorative sleep score was abysmal, my immediate reaction might be to panic about my brain health.
Oh, sure.
So I shouldn't panic and call my doctor just because my watch says I had one terrible night of sleep, right? We can't have people rushing to the neurologist over one data point.
No, please don't do that. That is the distinct danger of hypermonitoring. A single bad night of sleep or a brief dip in your heart rate variability is biologically meaningless.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Yeah. The body constantly fluctuates. You might have eaten late or been stressed. The value of passive data lies entirely in macro-level trends.
Okay, so you have to zoom out, look at the pattern over a rolling 3 or 4 week period.
Exactly. A 3-week pattern of disrupted sleep is the actual early warning sign. If your baseline metrics like your resting heart rate or your deep sleep cycles show a sustained, unexplainable shift over a whole month, that is a macro trend.
And that is the kind of empirical data that is highly valuable to bring up at your next doctor's appointment, because it gives your physician the entire movie of your cardiovascular health, rather than just that single photograph they take in the exam room.
It really represents a total paradigm shift. You don't have to force yourself to play frustrating spatial memory games anymore. You simply live your life, allow the wearable technology to securely record the physical metrics, and just monitor the long-term trends. It leverages everyday tech for proactive, deeply personalized health management.
It's empowering, really. And when you look at all the threads from the Age Plus Action conference, deploying AI for Medicare enrollment, defending against sophisticated algorithmic scams, using biometric wearables for cognitive mapping, they're all responses to the exact same underlying reality.
Yeah, they are.
The demographics of our society are changing at a staggering pace.
The statistics they discuss in Arlington really frame everything we've talked about. 11 states in the U.S. currently have more residents over the age of 65 than under the age of 18.
11 states. That is massive.
It is. The infrastructure of the country, our housing, our healthcare systems, our transportation, it was all engineered for a demographic pyramid that simply no longer exists.
And the systems are straining under the weight of this shift. The gap between what older adults need to thrive and what our current infrastructure can provide just keeps widening.
Exactly. And the policy experts and developers at the NCOA conference, they are scrambling to use technology, specifically artificial intelligence and big data, to aggressively bridge that gap.
Which is why being aware of these macro-level discussions isn't just an academic exercise. Knowing how AI will alter your Medicare choices, understanding the exact mechanisms data brokers use to track you, and recognizing how everyday wearables map your neurology, this is modern health literacy.
It's the new baseline. Knowledge is the most effective armor you can wear in an environment that is evolving this rapidly.
Exactly. By taking the time to listen and understand these underlying mechanisms, you are actively equipping yourself, You're stepping out of the role of a passive consumer and into the role of an informed advocate for your own life.
Absolutely.
And to help fortify that armor, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau offers a highly detailed tactical guide for navigating modern financial threats. You can access their specific resources at consumerfinance.gov/consumertools/educatortools/resources for older adults/protecting against fraud/.
That is quite the web address.
It's an extensive web address, I know, but the information it provides is essential for protecting your assets in a data-driven world. So again, that's on consumerfinance.gov in their resources for older adults.
Ultimately, analyzing these technological leaps forces a really profound societal question.
Which is?
Well, with the nation aging faster than our physical systems can handle, and highly advanced algorithms rushing in to automate our healthcare, our finances, and our daily logistics, what happens to the human element?
That's a great point.
Are we engineering a society where efficiency just replaces empathy? Or are we building technology capable of handling the logistical burden so that we finally have the freedom and the time to rebuild face-to-face, localized community connections?
That's the real question we have to answer. In a landscape increasingly run by invisible algorithms, maintaining our human intuition and our connections to one another might just be our most vital asset of all. This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to receive their free newsletters, you can subscribe at subscribe.theseniortechie.com.